Go ahead. Turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
Spring and summer unfolding. You're the one I love holding. It's hardly coincidence when it's meant to be. Riding up to the coast of Maine, the sun breaking through, just a little bit of rain. I'm so happy when it's me and you. I got lots of you in my life. I got lots of you in my life. Holding you tight in the middle of the night. Lots of you in my, lots of you in my life. I got lots of you in my life. Holding you tight in the middle of the night. Lots of you in my. Lots of you in my, lots of you in my, lots of you in my, lots of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer-songwriter Joe Viglione. So how you doing, Joe?
Hey, Jimmy.
What's happening today, man?
Everything's happening. I just, every day is an adventure. You know, today I was sending out to reggae stations for sale.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're always keeping busy, huh?
Yeah, and I'm writing a book on my songs because I have 354 up on Spotify right now, tracks.
Wow.
And all my songs on ASCAP. I've got my ASCAP all done. It is a crazy world, Jimmy, because if you're an artist, you got to get your ASCAP or your BMI done, and then you got to move on to Sound Exchange, where I have one song on Sound Exchange, Lots of You in My Life. So I at least have that done, but I have to put up over 100 other titles. And then you got to put up your songs with the MLC, which is something out of the Copyright Office. They now have an organization with the Copyright Office in the Library of Congress collecting streaming royalties for artists.
Wow.
You got to cover all these bases, and a lot of bands don't do it. So last year I started a book on my songs. So I'm putting all my lyrics and my ISRC code and IRSC, whatever it is, on the DistroKid, and the song titles. And it's an enormous amount of work, but it has to be done because I want to be in control of my intellectual property.
Gotcha. You know, the last time we spoke on the air about your career was January of 2022. Since then, you've been working on a brand new album, Elegant Decadence. Can you talk about the record a little bit?
Elegant Decadence is a title I've had banging around my head for like 30, 40 years. They're still floating. Songs I haven't recorded and titles are still in the brain. Thank God. I don't drink, so I think that helps, right? Anyway, I got a government grant. I got a government grant from the Mass Cultural Council, and the proposal was Elegant Decadence. I figured, okay, let's pull this album title out and let's pull these songs together and put out a really good album. And I guess only 10% of people, there were like 4,000 entries, and only 10% of people get these grants. So I don't know if they have them down in Myrtle Beach, but up here, there's the whole of Massachusetts, and then there's a grant for the cities and towns. So the city of Everett, I won a grant for a documentary on seniors. So I've been going full steam ahead now with the audio soundtrack, which is great, and then the video. But I have a team, Jim. I have Larry Lessard, my engineer, and I have Rob Fraboni, the master. And in New York, up in Croton on the Hudson, there's Peter Calo. Do you know Peter?
No. I've seen some of the posts that you've made about him, and I think you sent out an email as well.
He'd be a great interview. He was Carly Simon's music director for like 20 years.
Oh, nice.
And they're good friends. And through Carly, he met Jimmy Webb. You know, Galveston and all those, MacArthur's Park and all those great songs. So I had a Bobby Hebb session in 2013 where I was Bobby's producer. I have these tracks of Bobby, and we put Steve Hawley, the Grammy-winning drummer from Wings, and the late Dave Maxwell, the great keyboard player for Muddy Waters and Freddie King, and Thomas Hebb, Bobby's nephew and longtime bassist, and Jerry Bodwin, who was Jay Giles' partner, but he was in the Bobby Hebb band. And so we did this session, and Katoto, who you know, was in the room, and I played Got My Mojo Working, which was, Bobby was known for a cover of Got My Mojo Working before Sonny hit. So they called him Mojo. That was his nickname because that was his big song. He never recorded it. So now I have a 2-track recording with him and his nephew. So I put this great band together, and Katoto's sitting there. It sounds like they're playing in the room with my dad. It came out great, Jimmy. Just great. I should get you a copy of it. But just wanting to put a band behind one of Bobby's big songs because he never recorded it. And it's like I said, life is interesting. Every day I wake up, and Peter Calo couldn't make the session for Bobby Hebb because at 6 a.m. he had to be with Jimmy Webb. And I'm like, oh, Webb instead of Hebb. Right? But that's the kind of caliber musician. He's with the Happenings right now. See You in September.
Right.
And he's with Billy J. Kramer right now. So cool. He was with Dobie Gray and Leslie Gore and so many incredible people. And he's on the Grammy-winning soundtrack for Hairspray.
Oh, nice.
Not only the orchestra pit, but the movie version as well. So he does a lot of Broadway. So he's in the pit, and you can only imagine how good you have to be to get to that A+ level.
Right.
And so Peter is working on 3 more songs for me right now. He gets them done up in Croton on the Hudson, ships them down to Larry. I go over to Larry's house, and Larry invited me. He'll take he takes the computer and studio up to Newfound Lake, where he has another house in New Hampshire. So we're going to go up and record there.
Okay.
I've been recording in Dedham. And so we're getting this great soundtrack with these. I got Calo, Lessard, and Fraboni. And Lessard's been doing this for years. So I have a soundtrack. The people that gave me the grant, they're like, whoa, you got this happening. And it's like, yes. And I'm excited. So I'm really feeling inspired by these projects.
Nice. When is it coming out?
Who knows? I want it to come out soon. So we have the editing of the documentary happening and then the music happening. But I'm waiting really on other people to get their parts done. And it's summertime. So yesterday there would be this guy, Sam, who does exercising with the seniors over in our community room where I play piano. Mm-hmm. Well, he's on vacation. And Shelby, the supervisor, is on vacation. And there's all these vacations. And Darren, my narrator's on vacation. And it's like, oh, my God, it's summer. So I'm returning the camera tonight, and I'll take it out again in 2 weeks. So me wanting to get things done yesterday, I'm faced with life.
Yeah. Well, they do deserve a vacation, right? I mean, they work hard, so
they all got families,
right? So you'll get back to it, and you'll get the ball rolling. But let's talk about a couple of songs that are going to be on this album. This podcast will feature 2 tracks, "Lots of You in My Life" and "Reflect Love." What is the story behind the 2 songs?
Well, "Lots of You in My Life" was around March or April of this year. And you just think about someone you really like, and the inspiration comes. And I'm at the piano. So I play piano every Friday for the seniors. We have a coffee hour. But I have the keys to the common area. If you're a tenant, you have the keys to the common area. And so I'd go in at 1 a.m, midnight, 3 p.m. if no one's there. And I just stopped playing the piano and put my phone up, and I have a whole bunch of unreleased songs in my phone. And I start, oh, this is pretty good. Oh, I like this. I really like this. And it's like, I came up with this "Lots of You in My Life." And I put the demo up on Spotify, and people started liking it right away. So I got it to Peter Calo, and he did a magnificent job with it. The guitar lines are truly inspired and stunning. And Larry went beyond the call of duty, and I went over there to sing it, and Larry's working with me, and we're mixing this, and it's coming out really great. Now, the song is 4 minutes long. Mm-hmm. The demo was in April, and Calo started probably producing his end in May. So here we are in August. And right now, Larry took Peter's guitar from what he did in his home, put it through a speaker, and has a more charging version, which I have up on Spotify already. I just have the instrumental up. A more charging version. It changes the complexion of the song. It's amazing what these guys can do. But what I did with the version you have is I said to Larry, the box tops,
right?
Gary Kelly interview. That song is only 1:58, the letter.
Right.
So what I did with Gary was the demo that got the deal. And I said, Gary, what was the demo that got the deal for the letter? And he goes, that was the demo. He said, all they added to our demo was those airplane sounds at the end. But that's what we recorded. Same with Doris Troy.
Wow.
She was going on tour, and they needed to get a record out. So they put her record out. Just One Look is the demo that got the deal.
Love that song.
The demos sometimes are superior because you get that moment of inspiration when they first record it. And when you go to re-record something, there's something slicker and more glossy about it. Mm-hmm. Record companies love, but they don't get that the demo, Just One Look, was the letter was the demo. How can you do better than either? You can't improve upon them.
I don't think so.
So what I did with Larry, I said, look, I repeat the word "lots of you" in my life over and over again, and I don't want to bore the listener. And we're going to go to Chris Blackwell's "My Boy Lollipop," Millie Small.
Okay.
her voice got to be grating. And to Chris's credit as a producer, and it was his first major production, and it went to number one, he realized that her voice could probably grate, so he cut it down to, I think that song's about 2 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want the voice. And I said, so like My Boy Lollipop, I don't want people to get bored with the repetition of the title, because I'm using the same chorus for the verse, which Lou Reed would do and Creedence Clearwater would do. People don't know that, but they're playing the same chords, verse and chorus. Mm-hmm. And that's what this song is, because I just love that progression. And so we cut it down to maybe 3 minutes. I don't know. Now I'm going to have them cut it down even more to 2.5.
Okay.
Because, and we'll have these multiple versions up there, but I envision this in a movie soundtrack. I think it's just such a cute love song. And it's not about me. You know, usually my songs are about psychedelia or going through the universe, and it's all about me traveling through the universe, right? I said, let me write a song where, yeah, it's about me and it's about my, you know, intimate feelings, but any girl in London or Ohio can go into a karaoke bar and this song is hers. She could sing about her love life, that she wants lots of you in my life.
Right. Just
and
her take on it.
Yeah. And so I wrote it with an eye to get me out of it as much as I'm in it, but to give it to the world. It's like, here, have fun with this. And that's the story of that song.
Yeah. And what about the other one?
Reflect Love is interesting. Reflect Love was me on guitar, a demo, and I never finished it. And I had this literal shopping bag, a brown shopping bag of cassette tapes. And Jay, my drummer, has a little recording studio. And this is in 1988. And they went through the songs and they recorded a whole album. And Reflect Love was one of them. But I didn't like the lyrics. And so they still have the keyboard. They just created a wonderful sound. But they don't have the multi-tracks anymore, just the 2-track, and they have the studio. And they're kind of like in limbo right now, these two guys. And they're only 5 miles from Larry's studio, and I'm inviting them. And we've given up on music. We're just going to put old stuff out. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So Peter Calo did a version for me. And sorry, I lost my headphones. And it's really good. I love what Peter Calo did. So what the word Reflect Love is a line I took out of Mary Baker Eddy book. Have you ever heard of Christian Science?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Vatican, if you will, is here in Boston. I don't think she wanted a church, but they built her a church anyway. But in the church is something called the Maparium. It's $5, and you walk through planet Earth. You walk through a stained glass globe that is huge. You walk a plank and it's acoustically perfect. You have to whisper because if you talk, it booms around the room and you see the whole planet. You see Persia instead of Iran.
Wow.
See all these, and it's 100 years old. So they renovated it and did all this. Well, I read Mary Baker Eddy's book, Science and Health, cover to cover. And she talks about this concept of reflecting love. That in your life, you have to just reflect love to everyone, right? Which is a lovely thing. And I'm thinking, wow, reflect love. I reflect love. So I got that line out of the book. And I built the song and I forgot about it. And then Jay and Scott give me this demo. And it's like, oh my God, it's great. I go over to the house and I record it. But I wanted new lyrics. And Peter is amazing. And even the band said, wow, he did a great job. But I wanted to infuse their talents on it too. And they don't, they're being them. If you were ever in a band, they backed up Denny Lane of Wings. Nice. I set that up. I brought Denny into the country in 1989. They were Denny's backup band, which is a whole other story. But they created the sound, and I love the sound. And they put my song on tape, and there it is. So we're talking a song that goes back to the 80s, but this is a new version for Elegant Decadence, and it rocks. I mean, you could play the instrumental I have up on Spotify, and it just rocks. Peter Calo is so sublime. He's just amazing.
So what is the reaction been so far for Lots of You in My Life?
It's been stunning. It's like my old bandmates wrote, wow, sounds like it would be a movie. Well, that's my idea. But then Peter Noon wrote me and said, great hook, old chap. And then Joe Perry's wife, and Joe Perry said, catchy, it'll stay in people's heads. And I'm getting quotes from people. It's like, so I just started a list of quotes. And Bobby Hebb's girlfriend just adores it because she runs an art gallery. And she started putting colors to the song. I'm really humbled by it, that the reaction is really good. I just think it's a really fun song, and I love it a lot. I play it every week.
Well, when you put the album out, you should put some of those quotes in the liner notes. I think that would be pretty cool. You're
right. I should. I don't know who I'm going to get to write the liner notes, though. But it's a good idea.
I think so.
So there's no release date right now other than Spotify. The great thing is, you know how John Lennon's Instant Karma came out? He wrote the song, wanted to put it out to the world instantly. It took 7 days. Now it don't take 7 days. He had to have Phil Spector work with him, and he had that big band sound, and he used the riff from All You Need Is Love. A lot of people don't realize that. Love, love, love. And it's like, if you listen to music, Instant Karma is going to get you. It's almost over the same riff.
Right.
And so nowadays you got Spotify, where I can just go in the piano room, put a demo together, and put it right up on Spotify instantly. John Lennon's dream came true.
Yeah, sure did.
But that was 1970. We're now, 54 years later?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you approach songwriting, and what do you think makes a great song?
What are the great songs? Hooked on a Feeling is a great song. And you know what I love about that song? It's up-tempo. Now, the original version, and we just lost the songwriter. The guy who wrote Hooked on a Feeling died in June or July. Just coincidentally, because I'm playing it on the piano now, and I'm thinking, this song is great, but there's a subtle drug reference in B.J. Thomas's version, which is I just stay addicted and hope I can endure. He's talking about being addicted to love, Robert Palmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a subtle drug reference. So the Blue Swede, which I think that sold even more copies, that crazy Jonathan King rendition.
Right.
You know who Jonathan King is, right? Everyone's gone to the moon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He did Hooked on a Feeling, but he took a 1956 record, I forget the name, by Johnny whatever, and it's got these Indians doing this chant. So he mutated the chant and put it out, and it was a bit of a hit, Jonathan King. And then Blue Swede would cover, Lou Reed's, Mitch Ryder's cover of Lou Reed's Rock and Roll. They loved it. It was really magnificent. Lou called it the best cover at that point in time of anyone ever did of his song. And Blue Swede cut that, and they cut Never My Love, and they cut this Hooked on a Feeling. And I got to interrupt. The Lou Reed Rock and Roll, my interview with Steve Hunter, he told me he loved Leslie West, and I'm thinking, oh man, that's Mississippi Queen inverted. That's where he got that rock. That's where that rock and roll riff came out. Whoa. And Steve eventually went to the Lou Reed Band from Mitch Ryder and on to Alice Cooper. I digress. So what makes a great song? Hooked on a Feeling is just so up-tempo. But then you take Roberta Flack's First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, and it's so slow. It's so sultry. So, Roger Daltrey can sing, it's a singer that makes a song. No, it's the song and the singer when they're both good. It's the teamwork. And so I'm in the piano room. Basically, I liked someone a real lot 2 years ago. And I couldn't stay in the relationship. It was just too difficult. And I felt very badly. But I broke it off. And I'm thinking, we'll get back together. And now it's 2 years later. I'm like, don't even want to, really. But I was hurting. Even though I walked away, it was just too intolerable. It was someone that had issues with every single person in their life. I had to listen, like one night, 3 hours about how mom is upsetting to me. And it's like, give me a break. It's your mother, right? But like, I was hurting when I walked away. And so I just wrote a lot of songs. Sometimes you're inspired by a muse. And you can just, I sit there at the piano and they're just pouring out of me. And you want to make sure they're different sounds. And so you do something different. And you write these lyrics. And like, I sent it to Harriet Schock. And she really liked it. One of the songs I wrote about this relationship. And then you move on. Mm-hmm. Right? You meet new people and you're captivated and you can write songs again. And they're about someone else. And I like to think my new songs are far more uplifting than the hopeful ones I wrote before and 2 years ago. But you collect them and they're up on the web. I just put the demos up. I put the full versions up. And, but that's how I approach a song, Jimmy. It's you can write about anything.
Oh, most definitely.
And it's good to write about life or get inspired by a movie. But for me personally, it's usually about relationships. That's been the core of my songwriting.
Well, I would assume for some songwriters, when they write about stuff that's personal to them, it's not only they're writing a song, but there's a little bit of healing for them as well, right?
It is. And when we were breaking up, I wrote a specific song about a situation the person was going through. And I get a phone call. It's like, well, it's very flattering. Very enthused that I was writing song for them. But when I walked away, it became more introspective about how much fun we had, but how difficult this person was to be with all the time. Some people add to your life, and some people have so many issues, you can't help them. And I really wanted to help Jim. I bent over backwards to make this person's life comfortable. Mm-hmm. When they're so ADD, you realize, okay, I put my time in, it's not working. I got to move on for my own sanity, mm-hmm. because I'll get dragged down. But the songs, they remain.
A lot of people that write songs, they write from personal experiences. Now, what tools or instruments are essential in your songwriting?
I used to write on guitar, and now I solely write on piano. I have a beautiful Fender guitar that I never play. And so, because I have so many great musicians around me, nowadays, I'm just a front man. And we don't play out that often, once a year if we're lucky, right? Mm-hmm. But we'll get together and we'll jam, and we have great musicians I can just call up. Hey, Kenny, will you play? Yep. Carolyn's always there, my lead singer. So we get together, and I was so ill from March to April of I think it was last year. Yeah, March to April of last year, 2023. But we had this benefit concert for Hull High School in memory of Michael Weddle. Michael got me out of the mothballs. I stopped performing. He pulled me out, and we put bands together, and we wouldn't have to practice much because we've been playing these songs for 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. But for this gig, I thought I was going to cancel. And then on the, what was it? It might have been on the 7th, and the gig was on the 8th. And on the 7th, I felt better. I said, I can do this. We had a whole show, but I only sang 2 songs. But 2 of the band members had never played with 2 of the other band members. But our 2 songs came out flawless because they've all played them before. And I was just amazed the band is that good So why play guitar? Why play piano? Well, now I started fiddling around on the piano 2 years ago. Because it's at my old home, there was a Yamaha keyboard, and I played it maybe 3 times in 3-4 years. But the stand-up piano, I just went over to it and I started playing, and Shelby hears me. She goes, "Oh, I want you to play piano for a coffee hour." I said, "Oh, I'm too rusty. I haven't played in years, and I just haven't played any instruments in years." So I spent the summer 2022, when I'm going through this, strange friendship, which wasn't strange. It was really lovely. Going through this, and I'm practicing the piano there. And September 30th, she says, "I need you now." So she pushed me out of the nest, and I've been playing ever since. And I feel really good about it because A, the piano's there. B, I can leave the apartment and have some fun. 3 doors down. And I'm really happy that she pushed me to play piano because I'm having fun. I got 400 songs from songbooks that I subscribe to 2 different companies, and I can download the material. So, but for Alfie, Cher's Alfie, I wrote my own version. So I might write my own arrangement and play it my way, or I might just get the sheet music. I'll tell you what I'm working on now, and I'd love to put it out, is the Supremes, "No Matter What Sign You Are." Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge hit, and I think the problem with it is all the, Capricorn, Taurus, whatever they yell out at the beginning, it kind of disrupts the song because it's a really great song with this kind of like tacky astrological obstruction. So I approach the song as just a simple pop song without all that stuff and just going to the song itself. It's really a great song.
Yeah.
I think potential to hit again.
Nice.
That's what Clive Davis did, He would look for songs that almost hit and should have hit. When the Carpenters did "Close to You," I think that was already written by Bacharach and David, and they said they put it in a drawer and forgot about it.
Wow.
And the Carpenters picked it up. So there are songs out there that you ask what a really great song is. "Close to You" is a great song. I love Isaac Hayes doing "Close to You." Man.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And now Isaac's in the news now because the family is suing the Republican candidate for using "Hold On, I'm Coming," which he co-wrote.
Oh, wow.
And so Isaac, you can Google Isaac Hayes. He's in the news again. And, most people think of Shaft. And there's a great YouTube of him on late night TV orchestrating a band doing Shaft. And that is so difficult to play. But to me, Isaac Hayes influences my playing for these seniors the way he did "Never Can Say Goodbye" or "Close to You" or "Brand New Me." He takes some of my favorite songs and stretches them. And that's what Isaac Hayes was really about, along with being a master songwriter and this guy who wrote Shaft.
Right.
He was a great, tremendous artist.
Certainly was. Now, besides working on your album, you're also working on 2 documentaries, one about Rob Fraboni with Paul Norman and also another one titled 70 is the New 30. Can you talk about both these documentaries and how they came about?
Actually, we've got 5 documentaries planned, but those are the first 2. 70 is the New 30 is the government grant from Everett.
Okay.
That's about seniors being young at heart. Now, Paul is a member of Everett TV, even though he lives here in Wakefield. So I had Darren interview Paul, and we got that footage. And Paul went to Vegas to see U2 at Sphere. And now he's in London tonight, but he was at the Olympics. And here's a senior, young at heart. I mean, he goes to clubs the way I did when I was 19.
Wow.
And I have another friend from the swimming pool, Chuck. And he goes off with his lady friend to these free concerts at the libraries. So last night he was in Danvers. And tonight I think is Malden. And they have these free concerts. And then we're in the pool together. He goes, "I got to the pool. I did Dedham and I'm here now." And it's like, whoa, because you have to save a lane for friends when the pool gets packed. So these individuals are like, he's out more than I'm out. Paul's out more than I'm out. And I'm like, my God, I'm the guy at home in the computer, writing songs or whatever. I'm active, but like, I'd rather watch Suits on Netflix than go up to the. I could have saw Monday night the new Alien movie, Alien Romulus, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And none of my friends wanted to go, so I didn't go. It didn't thrill me. And I'll stay home and watch Suits or Netflix, or there's Flash Gordon now. I really like Netflix. So there we go. A little bit about inside my life. Did I answer the question? Yes. So we're doing a documentary this Saturday. We're taping The Sons of Cream, Jack Bruce and Kofi Baker.
Nice.
This will be easy. We're going to give them the live tape, but I have my interviews on Zoom with both of them, and we can make a documentary just with these amazing sons of these two brilliant artists. It's like Jason Bonham and Zach Starkey.
Right.
People know how gifted those two are. They don't know what we both know because of my interviews at Kofi. And thanks to John Lappin, he sends me these artists. And Malcolm and Kofi, I was just raving about the interview. They have stories. And so this will be we already know what the interview's like. It's done. We know that they're going to be brilliant on stage, and they're always different every night. They're going to play the songs of Cream and Faith, but they don't do them like their dads did. They do them their way, and it's like a jam band. So they might extend it for 8 minutes, and you might hear Sunshine in Your Love, just a jam on that.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's one documentary we'll have, but we're working. I have, Ben Orr from the Cars.
Right.
I was a videographer for a year, so I have all this wonderful tape from Ben. We're going to see about licensing it, and we'll have a Cars video. And Bobby Hebb, of course, through Kitoto, we're talking right now about doing the Bobby Hebb Sonny documentary. But right now, there's the first that we're approaching is the 70 is the New 30.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Rob Fraboni video. Now, this is great. Rob lived in Paris, and when he left, Bette Midler took his apartment.
Nice.
Isn't that great? So Paul went over to the apartment, and I got the footage on my phone, and he took footage of Rob Fraboni's apartment that'll go into our video. How cool is that?
That's very cool.
He might have got Jim Morrison's apartment too, but he was at the Olympics. I said, you got to get this stuff if you can. And so we've got it. And so the Fraboni video is going to be, you're going to love it. It's not your normal documentary. I can't talk about too much about it, but it is going to be, Rob will be narrating. And, just one tidbit about it. Bonnie Raitt and Rob were boyfriend and girlfriend for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So Rob was producing, was it Green Light, I think, the album. And there's the Exciters hit, Baby Come Back. Remember that one?
Yep.
So I go, this is great. It's on the album. He goes, oh, Joe, I was driving to the studio and the song is on the radio. It's the Exciters and I love it. And that's when I said, oh, wow, we got to record that song. Well, I said, I got to get that on tape. That's what we need in the documentary. Rob driving in the studio, exciting things. It's going to be a roller coaster ride and not a documentary like anything you've ever seen, because we have to do it special.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sail on Sail of the Beach Boys, that story. But we'll do it with a way that will keep the viewer wanting to watch this again and again. Fraboni is such a fascinating man. And he's never been captured on, you can go to YouTube, and there's a ton of YouTubes, and they're all lectures or interviews. But this is going to be special because he's a really fun guy.
Yeah. When's it coming out? When's it come out?
We just it took 8 months to finish our contract.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my lawyer drew up a contract, and then Rob's lawyer drew up a contract. And I really like what they both did. And then we finally signed. And then I brought Paul Norman on board, and Rob's brought a guy from Canada on board who's interviewing Rob. He just did a whole thing on Sailor. He's taken special songs, and he's doing these documentaries on the songs. So it's a perfect fit with us because now we have a teammate. And what I'm doing, Jimmy, is hard work. I'm taking the videos off YouTube and transcribing them. I throw the subscriptions to everyone by WeTransfer. So now we got the video saved. We've got an MP4 and then an MP3 of the audio, and then the script, the transcript. So this is a lot of work because what I'm doing is we're going to have chronologically and alphabetically all the important things of Rob's life from all these interviews. Your interview, all the interviews. And
Cool.
And we're looking at what didn't we talk about? What do we have here? So you will be thanked in the video because you were an important part of it.
Wow, very cool. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to watching this.
You can see, we're really putting the effort in. We got footage from Paris and we got all these interviews. So it's hopefully we'll have the trailer out in September. So we're hoping to have the trailer. It's already in production. But I think it'll probably take a year.
Cool.
We want to talk to Bonnie Raitt. We want to talk to Eric Clapton. We're definitely talking to Zach Starkey because Rob and Zach are working together. Rob is building a studio for one of the Marley grandsons in Jamaica,
Wow.
in Montego Bay.
Very cool.
I mean, so when you talk to him next, there's all sorts of exciting, the work with Zach Starkey, the work with Marley's grandson. It's like his life is like, every week you're talking to someone new. Me, every week I'm talking to someone new. We're all active people. And it's, so our lives are a little bit more exciting than some people who choose. And it's very good that they choose it. They choose to just retire and that's that.
Right.
That's good for their life. But you and I, we like talking to people.
Yes,
And
we
I'm-
do. Definitely do. And let's talk about some tapes. Recently, you discovered the sale of a Jimi Hendrix tape. It sold for over $51,644. What's the story behind this sale? And was this your tape or a tape that you had worked on?
No, it had nothing to do with me other than I was best buddies with the producer, the late little Walter DeVenne.
Okay.
So it's this TV show which discovers things. I'm taping Walter DeVenne because he's watching the show every week. And I got to get you on, Walter, And so I'd go to that club you went to, which I go by every night. It's right near my gym, 360 Mix.
Yeah, Mix 360.
Well, Walter was the DJ there in one of the rooms playing oldies.
Wow.
Okay. So this famous DJ from Boston was also probably the best 1950s mastering engineer in the world. I mean, Faboni's great and Bob Ludwig is great and all these guys are great. But this guy knew 50s music. And the oldies station would use him for their catalog. So he had remastered every Little Richard tape and every Fats Domino tape. And he and Richard were very good friends, as was Bobby Hebb with Little Richard, right? I met the guy once in a hotel in L.A., and I said, I want your autograph. He lived on top of the Hyatt.
Wow.
And I'm in the elevator with Little Richard, and this is 1991. The day I met Harriet Schock, like May 12th, 1991, I remember. I was at a convention, and I went to the convention to meet Harriet because I was a huge fan. And there's Little Richard. Oh, no, man, you'll see me around. I never saw him again. So anyway, Walter is taping all these Little Richard shows. And lo and behold, there's a tape with him and Jimi Hendrix on guitar. And so it was 1995. So I taped Walter showing me this tape and telling me the story. And so I called up one of the Hendrix estate people. There's three of them. There's Janie, there's Eddie Kramer, and there's John. I called up John and said, you got to come down to Walter's house. You got to hear this. So John comes down, and he's got his notepad out. He goes, oh, my God, it is Jimmy. So he knew it was. Now, that was 1995. We're talking 29 years ago, right?
Right.
So Walter passed away on the 16th of January 3 years ago. which happened to be his birthday. He died of COVID on his birthday.
Wow.
So, Sandy his wife went through a lot. But he left her these tapes, her inheritance. And so we passed papers. We're very good friends. So I have a contract with her. And I brought the Hendrix estate down to Tampa, Florida. Janie Hendrix was there and John. And they went to a recording studio. And they heard the tape. So Sandy decided that looking at all the auction sites, maybe we shouldn't sell to Hendrix. And they were kind of upset, but their contract was their contract. It was their way, not our way. So, they heard it again and we got this tape and I'm checking around. We're going to go to Sotheby's, but we went to this RR auction and they were amazing. They have a lot of Jimi Hendrix and Dylan. The Hendrix thing was the second biggest selling item that auction. The first biggest was a Bob Dylan painting from the 60s,
Wow.
which went for $150,000. 3 times what the Hendrix tape went for. I thought the Hendrix tape would go for 100, but I'm thrilled it went for 51,000, right? And it's this amazing testament to Jimmy and Little Richard. And Little Richard is no slouch. He's like a rock and roll legend.
Right.
You two legends finally, because all there ever was 145 that I think Otis Blackwell produced, Jimi Hendrix and Little Richard. So now I don't know who bought it, but I have a feeling we do know who bought it. And so it'll probably see the light of day. And I know it's great. It's just great. So that was the Hendrix tape, and that's the story of it.
Awesome. How do you see the music industry evolving in the future, and how do you plan to adapt and stay relevant as an artist and even someone who represents artists?
Jimmy, if you're a talented songwriter or any kind of musician, it changes daily. So I don't know how music business attorneys do it. People say, "Oh, you should have been an attorney." Well, it's just too complex because it changes every day. So in 1986, I signed a contract with Motown Records for the Manish Boys, produced by Jimmy Miller. And it's funny how Jimmy would send me to that meeting with the lawyer, Alan Arrow, a very famous lawyer. He's deceased now. Patti LaBelle, the Rolling Stones. And, it's really funny because the Hendrix estate is represented by my old law firm that had Alan Arrow, but Alan and Peter Schucat died. Peter Schucat, I met once in a meeting. He was Yoko Ono's attorney and AC/DC. So the Schucat, Arrow, Hafer, Weber was the law firm. And now I think they have represent not only, I think they have the Bobby Hebb estate as well as the Hendrix estate, okay? It's a very small community. Well, in 1986, when we signed this Motown deal, it was for the universe. You're signing a record deal for the universe. If the record comes out on Mars, they get royalties. Now, they think they're clever, these record companies, and it's probably boilerplate. They all probably using the same language, right?
Mm-hmm.
But remember when Bill Graham's online site, Wolfgang Vault, ever hear of that?
No, I don't think so.
Wolfgang's Vault was selling concert tapes. Okay, they buy them from Dinky Dawson. He had the Lou Reed set, and he had the Byrds and Steely Dan. So they would put all this stuff out, and the Jefferson Airplane. So these are concerts from, many were from the Fillmore East and the Fillmore West, right? And they were coming out. They put a box set of the Jefferson Airplane out on flash drive. So the contracts are for the universe, but they're saying, well, they cover CD and cassette and everything, but they didn't cover flash drive. I'm sure it went to court. I don't know what the result was, but they put a box set on a flash drive. You're asking, my bands, my artists, my friends, and I love them dearly. They don't go to the MLC at the Library of Congress. I'm sending them memos. You better sign up. It's free. Get your streaming royalties. and then sign up with Sound Exchange. And one fellow, really great artist, he wrote me, I'm signed up, Joe, but thank you for the memos because you reminded me to get to do the work. We're artists, Jimmy, and we have to do this complex stuff, filing our songs all over creation. Before, all you did was the Copyright Office and ASCAP. 1982. Now in 2024, you've got, the advertising on YouTube. You can sign up with Audiam and get money for those advertisements to show up on your YouTube with your songs. So that's another thing. Now you got ASCAP, Copyright Office, MLC, Sound Exchange, and Audiam. You got 5. You asked, it's complex. And that's just if you're an artist. Can you imagine being an attorney?
Right.
It's a very strange industry when you consider that Beethoven and Bach didn't get royalties for this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. How do you approach working with producers or engineers in the studio, and what role do they play in shaping your sound, would you say?
Well, that's a very good question. I'll give you a very good answer. First time I worked with the Rolling Stones producer, Jimmy Miller, I had an album deal with Europe. And, I'm 29 and I'm all excited. And I wanted to do an album with Jimmy Miller. And he said, do 4 songs only. And, I had enough stuff recorded. I could have put a pastiche together. No, we got to do an album, right? And Jimmy, come on, he worked with the Stones and Clapton, Blind Faith, and on, Traffic. He would just go silent. If you opposed him, he didn't want to rock the boat. And I learned that because I was with him more than any other artist at that time. I was his manager and his business partner. So we messed up. Now we have those tapes and I just had them transferred like last month, and I'm listening to them and I'm like, oh my God, the demos are better than what we released. This stuff's really good, but I didn't listen to Jimmy and I learned a good lesson. So now Phil Green comes along. He was in Sparrow, but he was the engineer for New Kids on the Block and Beaver Brown. Mm-hmm. So he had all these great guys coming through his studio. Phil Green was just flabbergasted. He saw me in a nightclub. I have to meet Jimmy Miller. I'll give you 9 free hours. So I get Joe Perry's drummer, Joe Pett, and my band practices for like 2 months. We go down to do this session. So now we're all practiced. We're all ready to go. And Jimmy's there. And he said, they're trading sounds. Phil Green and Perry's drummer are trading sounds. Leave them alone. You're going to get more. I said, I get it, Jimmy. I really do. He goes, good. So I went in a corner and I wrote a song. Jimmy comes over. He goes, I love it. I go, I do too. It's really good. And so he goes to the band, we're not doing the 2 songs you guys practiced. We're doing this song. And they were like, what? Now I felt like, I'm going to answer your question. What's it like working with a producer? I'm coming to that. Mm-hmm. But I felt like Mick Jagger because the Stones would go into a studio and do the song from the previous night. Then they'd write a new one in the studio. And I'm writing a song in the studio, and Miller has picked it. Above a Stones song, we were going to do Blood Red Wine, which is only out now. It wasn't out at the time. Mm-hmm. So we were doing a rare Stones tune, and we just scrapped it. We did it elsewhere. So we record the song, and it's kind of sloppy. First take, second take's better. Third take, we hit it on the head. So Jimmy said, and this is why I can produce me any day, Jim. Mm-hmm. I produce me every night, right? I just produce me. So if you got Jimmy Miller in the room and he did the Stones, shut your mouth this time around and let him work and don't interfere. So I learned a very good lesson the first time, right? That people don't get. But I got Jimmy with me, and I'm going to let him do his thing. So we're doing the song, and Jimmy says, well, I know what I'm using, which take I'm using. I said, I know what you're using too. And the band said, the third one. I said, no, Jimmy's using the first. That's all, so many mistakes. And Jimmy said, it's got the groove. You got the groove on the first take. We can punch in on, and we did. So then he puts these girls on, JoJo Lane, Denny Lane's ex-wife, Deb Gallagher, dear friend of mine, and Ava Electris. And they're all singing backups. And he puts this Boney Maroney riff in on the bass. I'm like, oh, man, it's 250s, my song. It's sounding 50s. So Jimmy says, what do you think? I said, I really don't like it, but you're my producer. You're Jimmy Miller. You work with the Stones. I can produce me any day of the week. Have fun. And that inspired him. Jimmy and Phil Green went to work. 6 months later, I realized they created a masterpiece for me.
Nice.
Isn't that amazing? I shut my mouth, Jimmy, and I walked away and let them do their work. When you've got a producer, I knew Nick Vinay. I knew so many producers I love, right? Nick Vinay and I would talk on the phone, and I know how to work with producers. Let them do their thing. If you really like someone that makes a great record, Peter Calo would do my basics, and I would do the mix and everything. But Lots of You in My Life, I gave him co-production credit because he came up with so many ideas I didn't.
Nice.
And he was touched. He said, well, thank you. I said, well, you really did co-produce it. And these guys are essential. But I like the team I have now where I'm still producer, but Peter's co-producing some stuff and Larry's my engineer. And then Faboni masters it. I mean, it's a dream team.
Definitely.
O.J. Simpson had nothing this good. I mean, I'm really blessed. So, yeah, to answer your question is find a great producer that you love his work. Everyone wanted to work with George Martin. Mm-hmm. But George Martin's son's a pretty good producer doing the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky to have had Jimmy Miller in my life because he's been gone since 94. And we're talking 30 years there.
Wow.
But his tapes live and they're great. And okay, so Rob Faboni engineered Goat's Head Soup. The song Heartbreaker by the Stones.
Yep.
Goat's Head Soup. And Jimmy Miller produced. I think I'm the only person in the universe that has a Faboni Miller team. So now Faboni's going to remix my Intuition element that Jimmy produced. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be what it should have been. But we didn't have the money. We didn't have the time. We got like $3,000 from France. We did what we could.
Right. You may
I
do.
can't beat myself up.
No, you can't. You may do what you had.
Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, they were dead by 27. I'm 29. One would think I would have the knowledge, but you're still learning every day.
Yep.
You got to be a psychologist with your band. You do.
Oh, I believe it. I believe you.
Like, they were all disheartened when we wrote this new song in the studio and Jimmy's producing, but they were great. I mean, I had full faith in them. We didn't have to. And the thing is, we had beaten those songs, I Love That Feeling and Blood Red Wine, into the ground. And, if I'm producing a band, I'll have them do Johnny Be Good in the studio before we're setting up. And I won't have them play the tune. Like you wrote me about Don't Answer the Questions, I Want It Fresh. Mm-hmm. Same concept. We would, you do Johnny Be Good, or you do anything, any cover. You want to catch the song catching the butterfly, I call it, catching the first take, because the first take might be best. I produced a Gary Hoey tune. Gary's a pretty well-known guitarist.
Yeah.
But this is back in the 70s, and Jimmy Miller's singing on it. I'm producing it, and Miller's singing. So I'm producing Jimmy Miller, which is I never thought of, but that's really true. So Bobby, the guitar player, he says, erase that take, his first take. Erase it, I can do better. I look at the engineer with the mic off, and I said, don't you dare erase that. He spends an hour, take after take, boring everyone silly. Oh, man, I wish I didn't tell you to erase the tape. I said, do you think I erased the tape? I'm the producer. Do you think I'm going to... It was great. I said, you're the color red, and I'm painting the picture. So he was so thankful that we did that. And then we got Jimmy Miller on this, and we got Ron Finn singing, and it's just this great take because I knew enough. Working with local bands, you're almost a teacher. Where, putting Nils Lofgren on the Buddy Guy project, Nils a dream to work with, but it was night and day. He said to erase the tape. And I said, I can't erase Nils Lofgren. He goes, erase it. We were doing the Lee Michaels tune. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I recorded it for Buddy Guy, right? So I took a verse out and made it a solo. And Nils does this wonderful ascending line and then a descending line. And I said, I'm going to fuse it. We get the two tracks. No, erase it. I'll do exactly what you want. My God, the guy did it. He just did where, the young band couldn't do it a second take for an hour.
Wow.
Nils did it instantly. That's when you see the difference. You're a teacher or you're producing. And Nils was so happy because no one lets me play the blues, and I love playing the blues. And he played all over the Buddy Guy stuff.
Very cool story.
That was February 19th, 1987, and we drove him down to his next gig in Rhode Island, and I got to talk to him in the car about working with Bob Ezrin and Lou Reed. He said, "Oh, Bob put me together with Lou." Fun stuff, Jim.
I bet. Now, Joe, I'm sure you have lots of interesting stories and blogs, that you've written over the years, maybe even some photos, stuff about your music. Where can the listeners go to learn more about you?
The main portal, which has a ton of stuff, I just posted up there, so you got to go hunting, but it's fun. JOE, V as in Victor, IGLIONE.com. So if you go there, it's going to lead you down a lot of rabbit holes for Alice in Wonderland. But if you go to YouTube, I've got so many YouTube videos up. Put my name in YouTube, and you can put my name in Jodie Foster, and you'll see our interview. Wow. Or you can put my name in Ray Manzarek or Bobby Hebb, and you'll see those. But if you want the songs, all my cover songs I don't put on Spotify. I put them on YouTube.
Very cool.
My band doing all that stuff.
You don't have to do royalties for that, right?
Right. YouTube covers them. YouTube is interesting. They don't want you posting someone else's tune, but if you are doing a cover of it, they allow it.
Nice.
You can cover someone's tune, but you can't put up Jefferson Airplane Chronic Creation. They'll take it down on you.
Right.
It'll be they might even take your whole site.
Yeah. They've already taken down my interviews because I had songs in there from the artists that I was interviewing. And I told them I had permission. They didn't give a shit. They took it down.
Right.
So that's why I switched to Mixcloud, because when I started doing my show, I actually was posting the first couple episodes I posted on YouTube. And then what I did was once they started flagging it, I just took the audio from the videos and I posted them on Mixcloud, and then I've just been doing it from there ever since.
Yeah, you can do the you can do just the interview without the songs on YouTube.
Yeah. I like to include the songs because it gives the artist exposure on that end as well as their story, and it gives the listener a little taste about what they're about, what their music sounds like.
And I really appreciate it because I'm really pushing lots of you in my life and Reflect Love, and I'm going to re-sing Reflect Love, so you have a version that won't be the final. Mm-hmm. But I have the instrumentals up right now, but they're both songs I really like, and I hope the world likes them.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
Well, there's something interesting, Jimmy, about Spotify, and I'm on DistroKid, and they get like 24 stores. And I looked at something called Boomplay, Boomplay. It's like, my God, they have all my covers up, and Amazon has all the covers of the songs up. So they had the picture and then the song. And then I'm realizing that YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Boomplay, they all have websites on me I put up an enormous amount of songs, 354 so far. And there's just this massive sites building on the web in all these stores holding my songs up. And I thought, this is fascinating. Mm-hmm. Does anyone realize when they put their songs out there, they have their own website? Like Peter Calo, I'm giving him credit on a couple of songs. Reflect Love, I just uploaded it. And they wanted 3 sites from him. So Spotify, YouTube, and a third site. And Apple. And I put sites up and they wouldn't accept them. And I realized that YouTube has a whole other site for the artist, as well as your main YouTube portal. And I had to find that other site, and then they accepted Peter's stuff. And now Peter's 3 social media things are in my DistroKid, so I don't even have to go hunting and pecking anymore. I can just put them up. But it's like you like to help people, get outreach. Mm-hmm. This is a way of getting even Peter Calo's stuff out further when he's guest starring on my music.
Nice.
I just discovered that, and I thought share it with the audience because many people probably know it, but I didn't. And to see a Boomplay cite all my stuff, I was really happy.
Yeah, I never even heard of that. I didn't know about it either.
There's this Deezer. Have you heard of Deezer?
Yeah, I've heard of Deezer, Tidal. I've heard of, but I didn't hear the one that you said, Boomplay. I'd never heard of that.
There's 24 to 26 of them, and they'll probably keep continuing as they build new sites. DistroKid and TuneCore are doing the battle royal. They all want artists to be with them, just like ASCAP and BMI.
Wow.
So when you go to TuneCore, they give you, and CD Baby is still out there. So they go into stores and put your music. And once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It takes a while to get the learning curve, but now I can just put a song up. I know what to click.
Mm-hmm.
And then I send it out. And like I said, 354 tracks. I'm basically building my own box set for the world.
Nice. Well, you could do a flash drive even too.
You could, but
you definitely could.
So many people on the web. That's kind of like a private thing, maybe for music supervisors or A&R people. But you don't ever want to give 500 tracks to Clive Davis. You want the one to get to Clive and to him jumping up and down. He's not going to listen to 500 tunes.
No, I was saying like if you wanted to do like flash drives and like sell them to your fans and stuff like that.
I really think that's become obsolete. I think they can just go to YouTube and get them for free.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
not really supporting the artist though, right?
Well, but I allow it. I chose to go and put them up on YouTube, and I've talked about this with other guests. Mick Jagger and Elton John are using YouTube like a radio station.
Wow.
They're putting their rare tracks, like the bonus tracks that you buy the record for, they're actually putting them out right away. So people, they figure that it's like a radio. It's like today's radio, YouTube.
Yeah.
And the fans are going to buy it anyway.
Well, I use YouTube to like, research artists that I find, because I find a lot of my artists on social media, like Instagram I find a lot of guests on there because they always put their ads on there for their band, and then I'll click on their profile and I'll look at their YouTube and their Spotify and stuff like that. So yeah, I won't post on there though. I'll never.
Why not?
Because I like Mixcloud. I just
post your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I just post my shows on Mixcloud and that's it. So I'll never post on YouTube again.
Yeah, Instagram. I put the songs up there anyway. Just because I know it has traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure I want to cover the bases I can. You can't go too crazy, but you want to do something.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying.
I go to Threads and Instagram. Threads and Instagram are one,
Yeah, they're owned by the same. They're basically the same thing.
Yeah, Facebook Meta.
Yeah.
So there are, and then there's the Pinterest I do now.
Mm-hmm.
But I only do like 5 or 6 of them, and that's painstaking work, and I'm a busy man.
Yeah, I might start. I have a TikTok account, and I have some stuff on there, but I might start doing like a short video after each show that I do to, tell the listeners who I just interviewed and to stay tuned for the upload and stuff like that. And I think that might be a way to, bring in some listeners too. So think about trying that.
That's a great idea. Because there's a massive audience on that.
Yeah. So maybe I'll start doing that. And what I could do is even, maybe upload like a snippet of their music to the video as well, So we'll see. Something to work on,
Yep. Hey, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, Joe. And I appreciate you doing this. And I appreciate all the great guests that you've sent my way all the time. And, every time we chat, it's like, we just pick up where we left off. And I can't even believe we've been on the phone over an hour already. But when you're having great conversation, you don't even pay attention.
Well, I want to introduce you to Peter Calo because there's someone with a fascinating story, and he's a real gentleman. You'll like him.
Yeah, definitely send him my way. I'd love to have him on the show.
And Rob Fraboni will do a second part for you, and he's got lots of stuff to talk about now.
Awesome.
Jamaica again.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely do a part 2. You can shout to him as well and tell him anytime he wants to do it. I'm ready for it.
Yep, he's back this weekend, and Paul's back this weekend, and we got Sons of Cream, and life is good.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the album when it comes out, and I'm sure you'll be sending me the tracks as they come out, and I look forward to hearing them.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of your afternoon, Joe, all right?
You too.
All right. You take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There was a time and a place you want to go back again. Through that mirror, all the love inside, like you've never felt before. Greetings, my dear, dancing under magical skies. Come to know, come to realize. Reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love. Somehow those mountains move, drifting past their own display. The comfort of silence, all sorts of fields at play. Waltzing through the heavenly mists, finding their own appeal. Listen to that voice in your heart, 'cause it all comes down to feel. Reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love. You'll reflect love. Reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, reflect love, love, reflect love, reflect love. You reflect love.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.